we got to talk about the headliner, Seth.
Yep.
So I'm going to pull up the tweet here from Mr. Pete Thamel. I know it's Pete Thamel. I know.
It's
Pete Thamel.
more fun to
Source.
say Thamel.
Big Ten expected to move ahead with formal offer letters for Oregon and Washington. A Big Ten vote is expected to take place after today to formalize their admission, barring any last-minute snags, and there weren't any, to my knowledge.
Correct.
So, the Big Ten continues its West Coast expansion, Seth. Oregon, Washington, Pac-12 down to 4 teams. So it is no longer the Pac-12. It is now the Pac quarter 12. It is not.
The Pac-4.
The Pac-4.
It's the 4-pack.
And I'm guessing they're just kind of done. It seems like they're waving the white flag. I don't know if they're going to be they could go after Mountain West teams. I guess it's but this whole thing to me, this is all just total and utter nonsense. This is nonsense. This is not what college football is. My whole thing with college football and the whole sort of appeal of college football is that unlike the NFL, it wasn't like a conglomeration, right? You had all these separate conferences all operating independently of one another and sort of playing different styles of ball. The SEC style of football is different than the Big Ten style of football, which is different than the Pac-12 style of football, which is different than the ACC style, and so on. And it allowed for basically every single part of the country to take part. If you're from Wyoming, you have a college football team. If you're from Idaho, you have a college football team. If you're from Arizona, you have a college football team.
You get a college football team.
Literally,
you get
there
one.
is every tiny sliver of a region that you can name. There are, I think it's in the NCAA, I think it's like 130 some college football teams on record. And this whole thing sort of just makes me upset because this is clearly not how this was meant to operate when these things were fashioned. And the regionality to me was the whole appeal of college football. It was I don't care about Oregon and Washington. I don't.
Well, we do this year, but.
Well, sure, we play Washington, but that it's that's now a Big Ten matchup. It feels it's totally. It's it just kind of feels forced to me. The USC UCLA thing was already just okay, what are we this is just ridiculous. And then they go and they do this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Pac-12 existed for 100 years, and we're just yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
I don't really care anymore.
It's fine.
Am I old man yelling at clouds? What am I?
I don't think so. Okay. I think it's a little out there as well. But I think, it's just the unfortunate way that it's going, and it's just all about money at this point. Money and TV.
But it's okay, so there's a lot going on with college football, obviously. I mean, you have NIL, you have obviously all this conference realignment stuff.
Big changes.
To me, I told you before the show, I have a solution. I have a plan. So they're going this way where essentially this is kind of like a pro league, right?
Essentially so, yeah.
They're moving away from the, amateur style, whatever you want to call it. They're moving into, this is kind of we're going to try to operate as much like a pro league while still trying to maintain some semblance of college. So here's my proposal. So we take, say, a bunch of these teams from the northern part of the country, right? So you have the Big Ten teams, and then I guess some of the Pac-12 teams that we've now added, as well as maybe I don't know, name some team up I don't know, freaking Yale. I don't know. But take a bunch of any teams that are sort of in the northern area, okay? And obviously the SEC already has the southern area concept. You have Texas now, Oklahoma. They could take Oklahoma State. They could take.
They're more than likely going to.
Other schools that are still sort of in. Nobody knows where they're going or anything.
Yep.
And sort of they conglomerate and they're down at the bottom. Okay? So what I was suggesting is what we would do is the top one would be its own conference, right?
The Northern Conference.
The Northern Conference. The Northern Football Conference, if you will. Or NFC for short. And then the bottom we're gonna actually call this one the Atlantic Football Conference because they have the ocean there, so it's actually AFC for short. And what we're gonna do is like they sometimes they'll play each other, like week by week, and but by the end there's gonna be a tournament, right? And it's gonna be like one side is NFC and one side is AFC, and they're gonna each play one another with some sort of seeding, and then at the end we'll have what's called the National Football Championship, or we can even call it a bowl, like a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
See what I mean? You see what this is? That's just what the like.
Did you get this from somewhere? I've never heard of this.
This is just what this is now. This is just what this is. We talked about this earlier. Do you know how ridiculous I know this is? The Atlantic Coast Conference, ACC, is interested in Stanford and UCal. One problem. They're on the other side of the country.
That is true.
They're not even the name of the conference is just it is entirely based on the fact that they are from the Atlantic coast. And they're like, you know what? We don't care. Give me UCal. Give me Stanford. Why? Because I want that California money. I want all 13 people who watch Stanford football, and I want them now.
Correct.
I'm so sick of these people. Oh!
Yeah, that's Stephen A. And, yeah, the other talk that hasn't, happened yet, the playoff in college football is still 4 teams. But they're talking about making that a 12-team playoff.
Right. Now, here's my thing about this.
Yeah.
Is, again, it's like I support it in so much as that's just sort of the route it has to go. Like, if they're going to do this, if they're going to do a college football playoff to begin with, it seems kind of stupid to just do a 3-game playoff because otherwise, I mean, we see it all the time, every year. If you're not in the college football playoff, your best player, nah, I don't want to play. And, like, no disrespect. I understand. But, like, with all, like, what do I care if I lose a bowl game if my best receiver doesn't want to play or my quarterback doesn't want to play?
Go to the NFL.
And it's like, yeah, because he wants to go play in the NFL. And so if you expand it, like, to me, it's ridiculous that the Rose Bowl is not always in the playoff. Like, that to me is ridiculous. This is one of the most storied, historic, game that has been played since, before World War II, essentially. Maybe I'm wrong on that history, but essentially, the Rose Bowl is so college football. The fact that there would be players who do not want to compete in the Rose Bowl, to me, is an insult to college football. And so what I thought before they even did it is like, well, why don't you just make it so that all of these all these New Year's Six bowls, Cotton Bowl, Sugar Bowl, Rose Bowl, all these like classic bowls, Orange Bowl, what have you, you just put them in the college football playoff. And then, you're going to still have these great games, but now every player is going to want to play because, like, look, I mean, could some of these teams have beaten, say, Georgia last year? I don't know. Probably not. Georgia won 152-3 against TCU.
Yeah.
And that's another problem. Like, college football is so competitively unbalanced. Like, Eastern Michigan, the Eagles, they're competing for the same national championship as Georgia. You might as well just die. Just give up. Because you're never going to win a national championship. A lot of great athletes have come out of Eastern Michigan. Well, you're never going to win a national championship playing for Eastern Michigan. And a lot of players recognize that, which is why you have the transfer portal now, where you have players who will leave, say, Georgia Tech or I don't know, like Michigan State even, and they'll go play for a program that is light years ahead, either in market or in they're just already, like, wherever they are in the progress of their rebuild, whatever you want to call it. And again, it's like, I understand why they're doing it, but this is not the NFL, or at least it shouldn't be. Like, the point of it is that you are playing for the school, right? You're not playing so much just like to maximize your franchise value, even though you end up doing that. It's just, I don't know. Like, it's like if they're gonna be doing this, where essentially we're gonna treat it like the pros, well, then we just gotta pay them like the pros, I guess. Like everybody's got to get a contract, and I know they don't. Like, not everybody would want that because that would mean you'd have to divvy up these giant NIL deals. Like, it's no longer Bryce Young making $1 quadrillion alone. Meanwhile, the punter is just like, you know. Hold on, I don't think my payroll came in. Anyone? Hello?
That's weird.
Hello? It's like the guy in Office Space who they just take him off the payroll, but he's still working in the office.
Yeah.
Hello? Hey, I don't think I. Oh, okay. All right. Great.
All right.
And it's like, I don't see how you get out of it, because at some point, some player, some backup, some O lineman who doesn't get recognized, who doesn't like. He's gonna get hurt or something. He's gonna get hurt. He's just gonna be like, "Oh, like, how is it fair that my quarterback, even if he sucks, like, what's his name? The guy who transferred to South Carolina. He was from Oklahoma originally. I don't even remember his name. Spencer something.
Spencer Rattler.
Spencer Rattler. It's like, this guy just sucks, right? But he got a bunch of money, and he got a bunch of money for nothing, essentially. And meanwhile, I mean, like, if I'm his O lineman, or if I'm his, like, I don't know, insert random backup, whatever. Like, well, I'm playing about as well as he is. Like, why is he getting all this money?
Then there's feuds there, and there's all that. So I don't know. It's
and then he can just leave. Like, it's just like, this is not what college football is about. I mean, you look at basketball, even like with the one and dones, where guys will just go in their freshman year and they can suck. They can be like basically nothing. Max Christie, he went to MSU. He sucked, but he got drafted.
And he's on the Lakers.
And now he's on the Lakers. And like, it's like, how are you supposed to build a team that way? Like, the whole system was sort of designed where it's like high school. I mean, but at a higher level, obviously. I don't know. I'm just an old man, I guess. A lot of people, it's like we just. I'm like Lou Holtz right now. Lou, he's coming from all over.
There was 2 Lou Holtz right there. That was awesome. Great minds think alike right there. I don't know.
I don't know how we timed that so perfectly.
I don't know either. But yeah, I don't know. It's ridiculous, but I just think, unfortunately, it's a reality that we kind of have to just face. This is where college football is going, and whether you like it or not, people really like money, and that's what they're going to keep doing.
This is bad. This is very, very bad.
I mean, I agree with Stephen A. there.
See, here's my thing too. Is I think a lot of people, like, if you point out, like, say, because Washington playing Washington State, I don't care about Washington State. I don't care about Washington. I don't care about Washington State playing Washington State. I will probably never watch that game. I don't think I've ever seen. You couldn't tell, but that's not the point. I'm not going to watch the game.
Correct.
But I imagine a lot of people in Washington probably watch the game.
As it is a rivalry game.
UCLA, USC. That's a rivalry, right? I mean, you're from California. Like, you probably know much more about that than me. You probably know people who are like big UCLA, USC fans that, it's as hyped up. Like, they probably feel the same way about Michigan State that I feel about USC, UCLA. Like, and you're just sort of, I mean, I guess in that case, they're both coming to the Big Ten, so you're still going to have that. But USC, Notre Dame, I don't really care about that game. Like, but USC fans definitely care about that game. That's a big rivalry. Like, and essentially what we're saying is, that rivalry's big and all, but, we don't really care. And also, we get a lot of money. So,
it's,
whatever. And it's like, well, okay, how many more big rivalries are we willing to just get rid of for more money?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, throw away,
Yeah, like, here's the thing. It's like, people think it'll go for those rivalries I don't care about, but it'll never come for my rivalries. And I think Washington State probably thought that way. I think USC, Notre Dame probably thought that way. I think UCLA, USC, well, again, maybe that one sticks. But like, they probably think that way. Like, how do we know that MSU Michigan is going to play every year? How do we know that U of M is going to play Ohio State every year? What, like, I mean, like, it's so, like, short-sighted, I think, and a little naive to just say, you know,
well, to
oh,
me,
well,
they have
whatever.
to keep the rivalry games. Like, to me, they do.
That is that's the best part of college football is the rivalry games. Rivalry
I think
weekend
they have to keep it, right?
Well,
there's no way they don't. That's just me.
I mean, like, they would have to keep something, but their argument is going, like, if, say, a rivalry becomes, you know, uncompetitive, I guess. If you, like, how many times has Alabama beaten Auburn in a row at this point? Like 8 times. Like, since Cam Newton left, essentially, they've just been pillaging them.
For the most part.
At a certain point, they might just be like, well, we actually make more money when Alabama plays Michigan or Tennessee or Ohio State. So instead of playing a rivalry that's in-state, that has a lot of history, that fans are juiced up about, we're going to go ahead and maximize our economic benefit. We're going to go ahead and maximize what our advertisers want us to see, and we'll be able to hit multiple markets. Because, you know, up here, again, Alabama-Auburn, a fine rivalry, great history. I really don't care. Game. Like, I mean, like, I'm not like losing it over the result.
I'm not going to watch it.
Like, but a lot, like, it's like these sorts of things. I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan State goes the way of Michigan Minnesota. Like, that was a big jug or whatever it was called. I don't remember what the name of it was, but like that was another one that's like, well, that'll never go away until it did. Or Michigan Notre Dame. They used to always play every year, and now I think they haven't played since 2019, and that to me is ridiculous.
Yeah,
I don't like it. I don't like the direction everything is going. It's just like we're just moving towards money and eliminating any level of tradition, and that to me it's just you're just hollowing out the product.
Yeah. I mean, I have to agree with that, but I would like to think that, you know, the people, even though they like money, I would hope that they're in their right mind and know that the fans want to see the game every year. People in Michigan want to see Michigan like, to some extent, they have to know that fans are like the driving force of what gives them their money.
Yeah.
So like, I would hope that they think something, especially like the game, that is like a national thing. I know that that's like a national thing that people watch. It's kind of like, you know, some of these other rivalry games, but I don't know. We'll see. It's kind of just waiting and seeing.
My only counter is look at all the games they're putting on these streaming services. I mean, a lot of people don't want to buy Peacock, but a lot of people probably going to have to buy Peacock, or they're going to have to go to the old, you know, 7 Cs if you pick up my catch my drift here.
Well, you know.
Like, like to me, it's like, or even just like MSU is playing Penn State in Ford Field this year, Seth.
I know.
I don't know that they really care about the tradition or the college environment. And also on top of it, they're playing that game on Peacock. They're playing it. It's like, we're going to, like, up next, the national championship brought to you by AMC Plus.
Oh.
Which is a real streaming services, by the way. By the way, that is a real streaming service. AMC.
Interesting.
The channel, you know, the Breaking Bad channel. They have a streaming
the Breaking
service.
Bad channel.
I don't.
Next is
in my why does that exist?
I don't know.
Okay. College Football Playoff brought to you by Tubi. That one's free. You can just get that.
That is true.
Hey there, what you just watched was actually a clip from a larger show that we do every Tuesday night. What are you doing Tuesday night? Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like button so that you don't miss out on any more of our weekly shows every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you there.